Another night, another perfect 6 for 6 on college football. ISU versus Memphis here for that 25x. Almost also hit this Clemson versus Kentucky one, just missing Tyler Brown. And this was the one from Thursday night, Arizona versus Oklahoma. So almost 3 perfect slips in a row. The Discord is absolutely eating with me. You can see John Yu turned a nice 38.6 into 965. Always great to see. So for tonight, we're going to go over some college football. I don't normally do college football on the channel, but we'll do it for tonight. I'm going to be doing a 4-power, but I'm also going to be going over some NBA picks, and we'll start with the NBA and then go into college football. So for the NBA, I'm going to do a traditional stack. We're going to be going with Kobe White as the first player on the under 5.5 assists. Let's take a look at him on props.cash. So 33% of the time, he has gone under this 5.5 assists. He is juiced to minus 130 on every sportsbook. I mean, points bet minus 125. So looking very good on the under odds, plus the fact that he doesn't hit this often. We also have to consider that Embiid is out tonight. They are against Philly. And we also have to consider that Vucevic is out. So we'll check the games without Vucevic. It's only been 2, and he's gone under both times. The second game, he actually only got 2 assists. And then we could take a look at some home splits. Doesn't get much better. 42% of the time, he has gone over to 5.5. Some other stats in our favor are that Philly defense is 11th in assists allowed and 6th in points allowed. This matters because we're going to be taking an under on DeMar DeRozan after, you'll see in a second. Of course, the defense is better with Embiid, but I don't think they're going to taper off to a 15th, 20th team without Embiid, right? So I do think the points total is still going to be low, and so do the bookmakers here. 24 is not that high. You can see it's actually the lowest total of tonight's slate. We got Miami Heat at 230 with the Raptors here too, and then Knicks Pacers 247, as well as Mavericks and Golden State at 241. So we're quite a bit lower than the highest games and pretty close to the next lowest, which is the Lakers and Timberwolves game. So lowest totals of the night, but this game is expected to be a bit tight. Minus 1.5 spread for Chicago Bulls. So they're expecting to win by about 2 points. Close games are worse for the unders, but we can take a look at Kobe White. This is set to 30 minutes and above, and he still has only cleared this about 38% of the times this season. So that is the first play I'm looking at. And like I said, we're going to be stacking him with DeMar DeRozan on the under 24.5 points. DeMar DeRozan's under points is not as good as Kobe White's under assists, but because we're stacking them together, we're not going to be taking them in opposite directions. It doesn't make sense to do that. DeMar DeRozan has went under 71% of the times this season, which you could see there's a bit of juice towards DeMar DeRozan's over. Not much. Minus 120, minus 110 is nothing crazy. It's about like 51% on the over, 49% on the under. That's basically what it translates to. And BetMGM has him at 50-50. So minus 115 essentially means 50-50. So we're grabbing the under here, again, because we're pairing with Kobe White's under. So it only makes sense. Again, though, we'll consider that Vucevic is out, but it's only been 2 games that this has happened. And those went slightly over at 24.5 by half a point, and then under at 21 points. Nothing too concrete to go over. It's only been 2 games, but just generally, he does not really clear this over 24.5. So I'm liking the pairing. We'll also check him at home as we do to Kobe White, and his splits do not get much better. I mean, 29% still, actually. It's exactly the same split. So that is the first stack I would go with. The thing is, I'm not going to be putting these guys in the CFB entry because you'll see it's going to alter the payout, and I do want to keep that payout concrete. Now we can move on to college football, and I'm targeting this Georgia game and this Wyoming game. We'll start with Andrew Peasley here on Wyoming, the quarterback. We want to grab his under here. I'm going to go over why. And we want to also be grabbing Asante on the under 32.5 receiving yards. These lines are set way, way too high. Prizepicks basically knows all people do on college football is jam the overs. Everyone on YouTube is just jamming overs. That's not fully the correct way to play. Yes, maybe it might be more fun because you're rooting for guys to throw the ball more, but it's not the correct way to play. We could check these guys on some other sportsbooks, and you can see we're getting a ton of value on Prizepicks if we grab the unders. The reason I'm grabbing Asante instead of the other receiver here, because Asante has a perfect graph with Andrew Peasley here. We could see red, 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 green, red, and if we go over to passing yards on Peasley, exact same graphs, red, 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 green, red, and these are the exact same games they played in together. So these guys are very correlated together. If one's going under, the other one is very, very likely to go under, and it has happened in the past 5 games. It's also a similar concept to why I'm taking Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan. These guys have hit about 63-ish% of the times this season in the same direction. So that's why we're grabbing both of them on the unders. Anyways, we'll go back to college football here. So unders on the Wyoming players, and we'll take a look at why. We'll start with Andrew Peasley here. This line is just craziness. I don't know why it's set at 181.5. Look at every other sportsbook. BetMGM is the one that has him set the highest at 176.5. Every other sportsbook has him around 167 to 169.5. So general consensus around 167.5 to maybe 170. We're getting him at 181.5. We're getting literally 10 to 12 yards on other sports books. If you like his over, go grab him on any of these books, maybe even Fliff. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it there. But this is set way too high on Prizepicks because, again, Prizepicks knows people just jam the overs, so they're taking as much juice as possible. And there's nothing wrong with grabbing unders. It's just as good as grabbing overs. It's the exact same concept. If Peasley's not throwing yards, the wide receiver is not going to be catching them. Same thing if you're going over. If he is throwing yards, he is going to be catching them, right? So if you're grabbing unders, exact same concepts. You want to just finding the correct direction. This direction is the correct one because of all the other sportsbooks telling you that this 181.5 is too high. We could look at Asante too. I mean, BetMGM has him at 31.5, but every other sportsbook 28.5 and then 26.5. So we're getting 6 yards on Asante, and we're getting like 10 to 12 yards on Andrew Peasley. It's like a combined 18 yards. I mean, you guys see in NFL how many times people lose by 1 to 5 yards. We're getting like 16 yards of advantage here on the unders. We want to be going under on this game. I'm not saying the unders are going to hit, but I'm saying they're more likely to hit. And in the long run, I want to be taking bets that are favorable to me. So as I said, for the other stack, we are going to be going to this Georgia game. We're going to grab Carson Beck, of course. And we're going to be kind of forced to grab the overs here. I'm not going to be doing a 6 flex. As I said, I'm going to be doing a 4 power. So I'm going to drop these Kobe White and DeRozan. I'm going to put them in a separate entry after. We're going to grab Carson Beck. The stack with Carson Beck, we could go Lad or Dominic. And I just want to show you guys why we're grabbing the overs on this. You're kind of forced to. If we grab the overs here, we do get the 10x. But if we grab the unders, you do see that they reduce the payout to 9x. Of course, there's a massive difference between profiting $800 or $900. So that's why you go with the overs. And I'm actually not going to be grabbing Lad. I'm going to grab Dominic here. Lad is set too high. He's set at 52.5 on Prizepicks. I mean, both of them are set too high, but Lad is just set way too high. So we could check Lad on Props.cash. Every other sportsbook has him at 51.5. 49.5, 45.5, all the way down to 41.5. I don't know what happened with my recording. Something's breaking, but what I was basically saying is that Dominic is set closer to sportsbooks lines and Lad is set a bit too high in comparison to all sportsbooks. So I went with that as the stack with Carson Beck. And this is the full 4 power I am going with.